Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Thursday, September 29th. 30 days has September. What was the other one? something in November. All right, one day left. And, whew, rough day in the markets. Yep, a lot going on in the world. This is the toilet paper record. The arrogant New York slime, they call themselves the paper record. All the news that's fit to print. You listen to what we tell you. This is what's fit to print. They call this bullshit with this big, stupid bullshit. Look at all the space they use up because they're not giving you shit. You know what they're giving you? Business. Benefactor with billions seeks split from spouse. That's the top story. After less than 2 years, Mackenzie Scott removed his name from donations. Less than 2 years after announcing their intention to give away a vast fortune together, the billionaire philanthropist Kenzie Scott and her husband, Dan Jewett, a former science teacher, are parting ways. What the fuck do I care? What the fuck do I care? Don't say that, Salenti. Swallow that shit. It's America. This is by Nicholas Kullish, Rebecca R. Ruse, and Karen Weiss. Not so wise. 3 fucking people to write this bullshit. Froze here, Michael. Got back? All right. Got frozen a little bit. I guess they get censored here. Anyway, I mention that because we're giving you everything we can in the Trends Journal. What you need to know, what you need to do, and what's next. The only magazine in the world like it. This is the shit that they're putting out. Look at all these fucking pictures and a nothing little business section. So, today the stocks went down. It's a 2020 sell-off. Yesterday they were up, with the Dow gaining some 500 points. The S&P was up nearly 2% yesterday. They snapped that 6-day losing streak. But another day today. The S&P fell 2.1%, hitting a new bear market low. That means down more than 20%. We said this was going to happen. It is in your Trends Journal, word for word. The sell-off, Apple was down nearly 6%. The Dow Jones is down 451 points. And the tech-heavy NASDAQ fell heavy, 2.8%. The September, they say here in CNBC, is historically the worst month for the S&P since 1950. And what we wrote back on August 11th in your Trends Journal, when the markets were going up, it's important to note that reality will bite in autumn when the people are out of, quote, a summer state of mind and back into the real world. We said this was going to happen when it happened. And the worst is yet to come. China's growth to fall behind rest of Asia. No surprise at all. It's in your Trends Journal. And again, the future does not like you. And it's showing up everywhere. Again, we said this was going to happen because of their zero COVID policy in China. So China's going through a rough time, and so is much of the world. Nigeria lifts rates to record high as prices surge. No, there's no inflation. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Are some commodity prices going to go down? Absolutely. Will all of them go down? No. Annual inflation in August was 20.5% in Nigeria. The rupee, the Indian rupee, hit a new lifetime low. You see what's going on over here? The dollar is only strong because these other economies are so weak. And the dollar isn't worth, to me, again, I believe gold prices today were flat. Bitcoin prices today were flat. Oil prices today were flat. To me, gold should be going through the roof. With the geopolitical crises going on, inflation skyrocketing around the globe, and only one currency strong, and you're telling me gold prices aren't going up? It makes absolutely no sense. The Chinese yuan, I just talked about the Nigeria raising their interest rates, the rupee hitting a new low. China's yuan drops to the weakest level in 14 years. Ready for this? IMF bailouts reach a record $140 billion as crises push poor countries to the brink. We said this was going to happen as interest rates went up, all these currencies went down, the world was destroyed by the COVID war that locked down society, and a bad situation has gotten a lot worse with the Ukraine war, with all the sanctions that they put on and all of the rising costs because of the war. Zambia and Sri Lanka, which both defaulted in the pandemic, are negotiating IMF bailouts. That's the bullshit that they keep saying, defaulted in the pandemic. They didn't default in the pandemic. They defaulted in the lockdowns. They're blaming everything on the pandemic. It's the lockdowns. But they're not blaming the politicians. The pandemic, Russia's attack on Ukraine, and sharp rise in global interest rates have forced dozens of countries to seek IMF assistance. Again, not the pandemic, the politicians. But they're rewriting history so morons and imbeciles are going to believe this shit. That is the pandemic, that there's, oh, it was terrible. Oh, it was terrible. People were dying all over the streets. Oh, the pandemic. That's the way they're going to sell it. And that's the way they rewrite history, right in front of your eyes. General Motors, they just had a whole thing going on. They told the workers to come back to work, and now the workers say they don't want to come back to work. We're mentioning this because we warned about this. You're going to see a commercial real estate disaster that you cannot believe, particularly in the office occupancy spaces. A whole new world has erupted. Again, old news in your Trends Journal. Lumber prices decline to prices before the pandemic. Again, that's the headline in the Wall Street Journal. Not before the pandemic, because some fucking pricks, arrogant little goosum, and I can't say the other word with me over there in Michigan, a little fucking moron of the wine over there in Ohio. I'll tell you what to do. And arrogant Andy Cuomo and the fuck faces over in Italy. In Austria, you will get the vaccination or you will not go out, and we're closing down your restaurant and you will open only at the times that we tell you. Everybody forgot this. And they're selling this fucking shit, the pandemic. SK Capital buys generic drug from Apotex. Every week we put in the Trends Journal, the bigs getting bigger, everybody else getting smaller, the rich getting richer, and you obey us. We are your dictators. We tell you what to do. We steal your money in the name of taxes. We give it to the bigs. The bigs get bigger. And you work for Amazon. You work for Walmart. You will never open your own business or become a free person. You ready? Ukraine can use Western weapons against territories seized by Russia. Arrogant little Tony Blinken, a little fucking arrogant warmonger, not a war that he didn't love, say, quote, "We will never recognize the annexation of Ukraine territory by Russia," Blinken told reporters. Blinken told fucking gutless prostitutes, media whores who put out for their corporate pimps and their government whoremasters. Ukraine has absolute right to defend itself through its territory, including taking back of the territory that has been illegally seized one way or another by Russia. And the equipment, the weapons that we and many other countries are providing has been used effectively to just do that. The weapons we provided, murderous weapons to keep a war going that should have ended a long time ago. And he wants absolute right to give back their territory, huh? Maybe he should give back the territory that the United States stole from Mexico. Yeah, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Yeah, why not? This has only been going back and forth for a couple of centuries between Ukraine and Russia on this territory. Oh, how about giving it all back to the Indians? Blinken. 4 Palestinians killed in Israel, West Bank raid. This is the propaganda. 4 Palestinian militants were killed on Wednesday during an Israeli army raid in the occupied West Bank. Oh, militants. People fighting for the land that was stolen by them from Israel, that have no right to this. The Toilet Paper Record writes this article, and they go, Palestinian attacks on Israeli soldiers and settlers within the West Bank. Settlers? You're in there still in their fucking land. Oh, we're settlers. Happy trails to you until we meet. We're going out west. There's nobody out there. We're going to steal everything. Well, yeah, what are you talking about, settlers? Within the West Bank have also increased during the same period amid rising Palestinian resentment at the increase in Israeli raids. These are militants when the Israelis go into a foreign country and kill people. They're militants, like those militants in Iraq and the militants in Afghanistan that wanted to defend themselves against America's wars. They're militants. The increase in Israeli raid, frustration at the entrenchment of the 55-year occupation and the unwillingness by the Palestinian authorities, the body that administrates nearly 40% of West Bank, to crack down on militants operating within small pockets of control. Wait a minute. They're there for 55 years illegally, and the people are fighting against them. The New York Times, the media fucking whores are saying the Palestinians have no right to fight back for their land. They're militants, and why doesn't the government stop them from wanting to get their land back? I could keep going on, but Israel gives green light for drone assassinations. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have approved the use of attack drones to assassinate Palestinian terrorism suspects in the West Bank. They have the right to kill people in another country. They're suspects. According to the newspaper, the Jerusalem Post, that reported this today, IDF commanders will be allowed to use drones, quote, to carry out strikes should armed gunmen be identified as posing imminent threats to the troops. Posing? You mean they didn't do anything? And what are the troops doing in their country? I may get blacklisted or killed. All right, Ukraine war to cost global economy $2.8 trillion. Right? Great. Terrific, Biden. The sanctions were great. Everything, NATO, you're doing a great job. Protests in Prague signal a troubled winter in Europe. By the way, you see all these underlines that we do. We underline the salient points, give you the story as it's reported, and then give you our trends analysis. We don't lie about shit like they do. And it goes, yeah. They were a hodgepodge of figures with a broad range of causes, including Kremlin sympathizers and those who said they are fighting a global elite. You know what they're calling global sympathizers, Kremlin sympathizers? The people saying, we don't want to put these sanctions on. Our energy prices are going through the roof. We can't afford to live. But anyway, this is important because we warned about this. In the Trends Journal, you could go back to 2 years ago. We said there's going to be a big movement of populist parties in Europe. You saw it in Italy this week. You saw it in Sweden last week. And you're going to see it in more and more countries. It's going to be anti-establishment. Not in America, though. Only in America, the people are too fucking stupid. They vote for lesser of two evils. Like that's like saying almost pregnant. 40% of COVID recovery funds in developing nations went to big companies, not the poorest people. That's in a new report that came out by Financial Transparency Coalition. That's it. The bigs just kept getting bigger. Everybody else keeps getting poorer. The bigs keep buying up more. And again, that's what they're protesting in the Czech Republic against the elites. They're in control of our lives. Oh, Canada eases COVID-19 COVID rules. This was on Monday they did this, right? Canadian officials on Monday said the repeal is possible, but Canadian officials, how about official pieces of shit? And then they go on to say, the information of the COVID-19 cases across the border is no longer significant. Jean-Yves Duchesneau, whatever, Canadian's health minister. Health minister? You're a fucking bureaucrat. What's this fucking minister shit? Oh, minister. What fucking crap? That's what they do. Oh, the queen is dead. Oh my God, the queen is dead. How come they're not talking about the queen better? Oh, maybe she rose from the dead 5 days after, you know? They put these fucking people up on high pedestals, so we have to take orders from them. And they give them these fucking names. More retailers lock items to deter theft. No shit. When did we say this? Oh, when the COVID war began, when the United States ramped it up in March of 2020. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Crime is running rampant. Violence like I've never seen in my life or anybody's seen in their life. And it's going to continue to increase. Unless we have peace and start putting the money in that direction to build up society mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Mass scores in New York City reflect pandemic's disruption. Again, it's not pandemic's disruption, fuckfaces who wrote this. Troy Closen from the Toilet Paper Record. Nothing to do with the fucking pandemic. It had to do with the pricks like little fucking Warren Wilhelm Jr., who changed his name to use his mother's name, de Blasio. And arrogant Andy Cuomo locked down the fucking place all over the world. And you could see the mental distress of this, and there's more details during your Trends Journal. Oh, Biden seeks to expand free school meals. Oh, is he going to pay for it? Oh, you mean steal more of our fucking money so they can eat more shit? New Zealand Prime Minister calls for global censorship system. Yep. This is the other one that locked down the fucking place. New Zealand Prime Minister Ardern lashed out at, quote, disinformation. In other words, you're only supposed to believe our shit. If you don't believe our shit, it's disinformation. But what if that lie told repeatedly and across many platforms prompts, inspires, and motivates others to take up arms? Oh, you mean like the propaganda you're selling to take up arms to slaughter people all over Ukraine? Oh, no, I know. You like the Yemen war better. Nah, the Libyan wars to me. I like the Syria. Those are the arms you're talking about? No. Only the little people can't have arms. Or I'd notice how extremists use speech to spread lies. What fucking shit? This is how society's going down. I got this person telling me what a lie is when they lie to us all the time. Hey, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al Qaeda. And then finally, Cuomo charts his path back. Yes, it includes a podcast. This is a story in the toilet paper record today. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York on Wednesday outlined his path back from the political wilderness. He plans to host his weekly podcast, establish a gun safety initiative. Oh yeah, you want a gun safety initiative? Start with the Pentagon, all right? All right, fuckface? Gun safety initiative when you're sending guns and weapons all over the world? Who the fuck you talking to? Calm down, Celente. Swallow their shit. Be a good American. He goes on to say, I've seen extremes, the worst. Yeah, you were the worst. It was a Gun Safe America podcast. Yep. What a bunch of crap. How about talking about peace? No one's talking about peace. We are in the worst financial and geopolitical crisis of our lifetime. And it's only going to get worse unless the people do something. You better stand up and do anything you can. And we're doing everything we can with the Trends Journal. No magazine like it. The cover's by Anthony Frieda. They're genius. You look at this week's cover. I mean, it's just one after another. The future does not like you. And we just showed you how it hates you. Look at that cover. Look at the crap you're getting from the mainstream media. The shit that they shove down your throat. The shit news from shitheads. And the shitheads that swallow it. And they get angry because you don't swallow the shit that I swallow. So subscribe to the Trends Journal, trendsjournal.com, and support peace by Occupy Peace and to Occupy Peace or the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. freedompeacejustice.com. And also for your religious vaccine exemptions, if you need them, you can get them from freedompeacejustice.com, the Universal Church. And remember, check out that great podcast I did yesterday with Judge Napolitano. Whew. That guy, boy, he's right on it. And we are too, and you are too. That's why you're tuning in. So please do what you can do. Thank you. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Are you prepared for what's next? These are unprecedented times. What's next? What's going to happen? Read the Trends Journal. We have an unsurpassed track record of forecasting history before it happens. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.